Welcome. Today we are going on a journey, a complete tour of the world of artificial intelligence. We're going to start with that amazing feeling of coding your very first model, and we're going to end up with the huge, complex ethical questions that are going to define our future. So let's dive in. I mean, it's the question on everybody's mind, right? The world of AI is absolutely buzzing with opportunity. But let's be honest, it can also feel like this impossible maze to try and figure out. Where do you even start? Well, we're going to map it out, and we'll begin with the most satisfying step of all. We're starting at the workbench. This is that spark of creation moment, where all these abstract ideas become something real, something you can actually build and test for yourself, your very first machine learning model. To get our hands dirty, we're going to start with a total classic, the famous iris dataset. Our goal here is pretty simple. We're going to teach a machine how to identify a flower's species, like a setosa or a virginica, based only on the measurements of its petals and sepals. It is the perfect Hello World project to really get the hang of the whole process. And that is such a crucial point. Before we get totally lost in all the crazy math and complex engineering, it's so important to remember that, at its heart, this is a creative, and yeah, it's a fun process. You are literally teaching a machine how to think. So once you've trained it, what happens next? Look, you're not going to retrain your model from scratch every single time you need to use it. That would be incredibly inefficient. The solution is this process called serialization. Think of it like flash freezing your trained model's brain, so you can just save it to a file and then load it back up instantly whenever you need it.
And in Python, you've basically got two main tools for this job. For smaller, simpler models like our iris classifier, something called Pickle is fantastic. But when you start working with these huge models that have tons of numerical data, JobLib is really the way to go. It's specifically built for that kind of heavy lifting.
So you've built your model and you've saved it. It's sitting in a file on your computer, which is a huge achievement. But how do you let other people actually use it? Well, it's time to go from a personal project to a real, shareable web app.
And this is where the real magic happens. There's a tool called Streamlit that lets you wrap a beautiful, interactive user interface around your model using only Python code. You don't need to learn HTML, CSS, or any of that complex web development stuff to make your creation accessible to the entire world.
And you might think deployment sounds hard, but this diagram shows just how straightforward it can be. You write a script for the user interface, adding sliders and buttons and things. You load your saved model. You list all the libraries your project needs, push it all to GitHub, and then connect that to Streamlit. A few clicks later, your model is live on the web for anyone to see.
Okay, building one app is great, but how do companies like Google and Netflix manage thousands of models, all running live serving millions of people? Well, that requires a completely different playbook. It's time to zoom out from the hobby project to the professional world of MLOps.
This table just captures the gap perfectly. A personal project can live on your one machine. You can check it manually whenever you want. But a professional production-level system, it needs to be automated, it needs to be scalable, constantly monitored, and it has to be compliant with regulations, all while a huge team is working on it. The difference is just massive.
And this is the solution. MLOps is the professional discipline for managing the entire life cycle of a machine learning model. It's both a culture and a set of engineering practices that brings the reliability of software development and data engineering right into the world of AI.
The goals of MLOps directly address all those challenges of going into production. It's kind of startling how many models that work perfectly fine on a laptop just completely fail in the real world. MLOps is what ensures that a model you built in January is still working reliably in June, that it can handle 10,000 users as easily as it can handle 10, and that the whole process is transparent and trustworthy.
So, we know how it's done professionally, but how do you get in? How do you actually land a job in this field? Well, this is where the path gets a lot less clear, and the online community is locked in this fierce and often really confusing debate.
Let's ground this whole debate in a real story. This quote is from a Reddit post that sparked a massive discussion. And it captures this very real anxiety and hope of someone who's looking to AI as a way out of a tough financial spot, wondering if some expensive boot camp is the golden ticket.
The community's response was, it was overwhelming. As this chart shows, the vast majority of experienced professionals advised against dropping thousands of dollars on short-term boot camps. They warned that they often sell a lot of hype over actual substance. The consensus was crystal clear. Be very, very careful.
So what was the advice? First and foremost, get financially stable.
Don't go into debt for a promise. Then, take advantage of the incredible amount of free and low-cost material that's online to teach yourself. Build a portfolio of projects that proves you can do the work. The community really stressed that while a lot of roles might ask for a degree, what really matters is showing you have degree-like knowledge and skill through the things you've built.
Okay, we've built a model, we've deployed it, and we've explored how to build a career. But there's one final crucial layer to this entire stack. With the immense power of AI comes immense responsibility. We have to talk about the ethical guardrails.
This isn't some niche topic for philosophers anymore. AI is already being used to make life-changing decisions about loans, about hiring, even about criminal justice. Ethics have become a foundational, non-negotiable requirement for building technology that we can actually trust.
These are the core pillars of responsible AI. Fairness. Does it treat all groups equitably, or does a loan approval model penalize certain zip codes? Transparency. Can we even understand why it made a certain decision? Accountability. Who's responsible if it fails? Privacy. Does it protect user data? And inclusivity. Is it actually built to serve everyone? These are the questions that every single developer must be asking now.
This quote puts it so starkly. Getting this wrong isn't just a technical error. It can have severe, real-world consequences. We're talking about perpetuating systemic bias, causing genuine harm. The stakes could not be higher.
And that brings our entire journey full circle. We've gone from code to conscience. You know, it's one thing to make AI work. It is another thing entirely to make it work for the good of humanity. The critical question isn't just, can we build it anymore? It's, should we? And how do we make sure what we build is helpful, is fair, and is right? That is the ultimate challenge for this generation of creators.